with the Eras Tour right around the corner, I thought it would be fun to make a video sharing with you my expectations or predictions for the set list, even though I'm like not even going to the tour unless she announces European dates sometime soon. But I am very hyped to see what kind of storyline she's gonna put together for the tour and how she's gonna build up the set list. Because let's be real, this set list is practically impossible to put together because this is not a Midnight's driven tour. This is the Eras Tour. And I've been watching videos and everyone's kind of twisting and turning, trying to figure out how she's gonna put this set list together. It's like impossible to pull off. There are so many songs that kind of need to be included, but also so many songs that her fans desperately want to hear. So I'm really excited to share with you my speculations and to hear your theories as well. So the key things that I kept in mind while doing this was that the show will probably be around 2 hours and not longer than that. And we need to account for the fact that she will obviously talk to the audience, and when you have like a live concept of a song, sometimes they kind of stretch it out more than they usually need to. But of course, I think we can expect a lot of mashups because she's gonna have to do that to include as many songs as possible. There are so many ways in which she could build this set list. The most common way of building a set list is, of course, to have songs from every album in no particular order playing. However, given that Taylor is a huge storyteller, I kind of envision that she might do this thing where she goes era by era and just make it into this whole journey of her career. So that's kind of how I build my set list. If we have 2 hours, then we have 10 albums to go through. We have approximately 12 minutes per era, and this includes talking, wardrobe changes, and everything. So let's jump right into my predictions. So for the opening sequence, what I envision would be that she plays one line from every track one of every album she has, from Midnight going backwards to the debut album. So it would be like, meet me at midnight, and then everything would go silent. Obviously the crowd would be going wild, and then the lights would come up again, and it would be like, the more that you say, the less I know. And then again, darkness, silence, but it would have been fun if you would have been the one. Darkness, silence, audience is screaming, I forgot that you existed. And then obviously as this is happening, all the visuals on the screens are going to be related to the corresponding eras. So then again, darkness, are you ready for it? Darkness, it's a new soundtrack, I could dance to this beat. Or maybe she would just do like Welcome to New York, but I just like the soundtrack lyric better. Again, darkness, this is a state of grace. Darkness, people are screaming, you made a rebel of a careless man's careful daughter. Darkness, silence, screams, you take my hand and drag me head first, fearless. Darkness for the last time, and this last darkness stretches out a little bit longer, and then it goes, when you think Tim McGraw. And then Taylor appears on stage and actually proceeds to play Tim McGraw. Now, I know what you're thinking. No, she's not gonna open with Tim McGraw. This doesn't make sense. But in my concept and theory, it's the only song that it makes sense to open with. And that's why I think there will be this kind of like stretched out intro video. But I think this would be the strongest way to start the Eras Tour from like the beginning of her career. So what I think she's gonna do for every era segment is that she's gonna transition into it, first of all, with a very short video, probably something as short as like 10 to 20 seconds. Because time is of the essence here. Then she'll play one song, but probably about like half of a song or a shortened version of the song. So I think for every era, we'll get one full song, a mashup, and like half a song, if that makes sense. This is kind of how I built it in my head. So I picture that we'll start with Tim McGraw, then she'll do some sort of mashup with Picture to Burn and Should Have Said No. I don't know, do you guys see that? I feel like I can really see those two songs going well together. And then I think she will close the segment with our song. And then of course we move on to Fearless, which I think only makes sense to open with Fearless. And then she'll go into the mashup of You Belong With Me and Love Story because we've seen it before and it works so well together that there is no way that she won't just put it again. And then I think she's gonna close this segment with Forever and Always, which I think a lot of people are gonna kind of disagree with me that why she would pick that song, but I think it's very upbeat and fun. We're still really early into the beginning of the show, so I do think she's still trying to get people hyped. I think The Way I Love You would have also been a very good candidate to be here, but I think it's more likely that she will play Forever and Always. Then we move into Speak Now, which I think she will start off with Sparks Fly, because that's kind of what she was using for her tour openers, Drop Everything Now. So I think she'll do something similar to that. And then I think she's gonna do a mashup of Mean, Better Than Revenge, and The Story of Us. I don't 100% hear how the mashup will work in my head, but I do think that the songs go well together lyrically. And then of course to close Speak Now, the only way she can close Speak Now is with Enchanted, because we need to get that full song. And I know some of you are going to be like, wait, what about Long Live? But let's talk about Long Live a little bit later. I do think Enchanted would be the right song to go in this slot if this is how she was going to build her set list, which of course this is all just a figment of my imagination. So let's move on to Red. I think she would open with I Knew You Were Trouble, and then I think it would be really cool if she did a medley of We Are Never Getting Back Together and I Bet You Think About Me, which I know might seem a little bit unlikely because in general I do think that her playing vault tracks would be weird, but she did make this a single, like we got a music video for it and everything, and I think the two songs would go together really well. And then of course transitioning into All Too Well. Whether it's going to be the 10-minute version or not, I am not sure. Of course, when I've said I've allocated a 12-minute set per era, it doesn't make it possible for her to play All Too Well 10-minute version. I don't know how she will incorporate it because I feel like playing the normal version will disappoint some fans if they don't get to hear the new parts. But there is no easy way for her to give us the new parts without playing the whole song. What I think she could do is find a way to maybe skip the first chorus, or like maybe she'll just do the first verse, the I Walk Through the Door With You, that bit, and then move on to the photo album on the counter. So she'll skip like the majority of the first part of the song to move on to like the newer parts of the song. I think that could work well. And then we read 1989, which I think would make sense to open with Blank Space because that was like the defining song of that era. And then we would have some sort of mashup from Wildest Dreams, Out of the Woods, and Style. For me, it's like I would want all of those songs to be part of this. And of course, she would close with Shake It Off. Shake It Off is not the song that I would necessarily want to hear in its entirety. But I'm also trying to keep this a little bit realistic. So I'm putting the things that I would like, but also what I think would make sense. And then of course, transitioning into Reputation, I think it would be cool if she played the Baby Let the Games Begin, but then she actually plays Delicate. I don't think she will start that off with Ready for It because that's an opening song. That's not a halfway through the show song. I'm pretty sure she confirmed on TikTok that she was going to be playing Delicate. So I'm putting it in there as the first part of the Reputation segment. Then I think the mashup here could be Gorgeous Times Getaway Car, but maybe also with some elements of Look What You Made Me Do, because that was the song that kind of started the whole era. And then this one is more for me and maybe unlikely, but I would want her to play Don't Blame Me. For me, that would be a non-negotiable song that I would really need to hear. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it actually doesn't make it anywhere on the set list. But if you go on Spotify, you know artists can pick their top 5 songs. She has put Don't Blame Me there. And she has songs with way more streams, and she has the way more popular songs in that. So the fact that she put it on her top 5 makes me think there's a good chance that we're gonna get it. Like, she wants people to be listening to it. And now we reached Lover, and let me tell you, choosing songs from Lover was so difficult because I think there's so many that we all just really want to hear live. I do think that following my concept, it would make sense for her to open with Me. But like I said, these first songs are all going to be like shortened versions of the songs. She won't play the whole song. Maybe just like a verse and a chorus. And I think she would do a mashup of Cruel Summer, Cornelia Street, and Death by a Thousand Cuts. I do think Cruel Summer and Death by a Thousand Cuts are non-negotiable songs that fans really, really want to hear during this tour, so I'm hoping that they will be somewhere in there. And I think it only makes sense to close this section with Lover. And like, I do feel like we've heard Lover enough that she could just not play it, but we also need to account for the fact that not everybody that goes to these shows are like really huge fans. Although given the prices, I think everybody at these shows are gonna be really big fans. But there are so many other songs that I personally would have loved to hear from Lover, like I Think He Knows or False God. But anyway, then moving on to Folklore, I think she would open it with The One. And I think everybody has predicted this, but I also believe she will do some sort of medley with Cardigan, Betty, and August. Those songs were kind of made to be played together. I think this is a safe bet that she's gonna do something like this. And then I would close the whole Folklore era with Invisible String. Moving on into Evermore, I would open with, again, the title track, Willow, and then do some sort of mashup of Champagne Problems and Happiness, and maybe also Gold Rush. I do think Champagne Problems and Happiness go together really well lyrically. Oh my god, can you guys just imagine Happiness live? I think I would die. And then of course I think she would close off the Evermore era with No Body, No Crime. And then we reach the last era, which is of course Midnights. And obviously, as you probably have also predicted, I think she would open this with Lavender Haze, which a lot of people think is the song that's gonna actually open the entire tour. Then I think it would be really cool if she did some sort of mashup of Anti-Hero and You're on Your Own Kid, because I think those songs kind of also go together, like lyrically and emotionally. And then I would close off the show and the era with some sort of mashup of Bejeweled and Karma. Like that feels right. That kind of sums up the album, but also sums up her whole journey, I feel like. And I know what you're thinking. What about closing with Long Live? My problem with that is that it kind of goes against this whole concept that I built here, unless just Long Live and then in the background integrating all these different elements or lyrics from songs throughout her entire career, and then just like fireworks, and that would be the most beautiful way to close this. I would love that. I really hope she does something like that, because then she's closing it off addressing all her eras and not just on Midnights. It might be a little unlikely, but a girl can dream. And that's basically it for this video. These are my predictions. This is kind of how I envisioned that she would put together a set list for this tour. But of course, there's also a high chance that she doesn't go era by era and she just kind of mixes things in there, which could also be cool, because then she could do like her Wildest Dreams Enchanted mashup and stuff like that. Let me know what your predictions are, or what songs are non-negotiables for you, because I love talking about this stuff. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to hang out again, don't forget to subscribe. Bye!